Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, I have been inspired by this set of dies. Now, I could not resist these. These are the Borders and Trims dies from Elizabeth Craft Designs. Now, there are lots of companies out there that do border dies or trim dies, and so I thought it would be handy to kind of go over a few different ways that we can use them. Now, actually, I'm going to choose a single die out of the set today because honestly, my mind was running. You will be seeing these in a few videos. I've got some great ideas of how we can go about using these. Now, one cool thing about these ones is that these actually cut out the trim, if that makes sense. So that's why I was excited by these. It's different than anything else I have. However, I do think that you probably have dies in your stash that you would be able to use in a similar fashion. So I'm using this, it kind of reminds me of a chain link, honestly. And I just think there are a few cool different ways that we can use even just this one singular die. So I hope you enjoy this video. And I also hope that you can take some of the ideas and use them with your own trim and border dies. As I said, there are lots of companies out there who make them, and you probably have some in your stash ready to go. So I hope that you can take some of these ideas and transfer them to what you have as well. Although I do think this is a fabulous die set, and that's why I chose to invest my money in it. I'm really excited to start using this for some. I have some good ideas coming up. As I said, I had to sort of split these videos because my mind was so excited with great ideas for this die set. Now, first up, I'm going to create a background with these, and I want to do two different ink colors. I have the light Carnation and the dark Carnation inks from Gina. These are dye inks, and there is a light, a medium, and a dark, and these are great for stamp layering and layering stencils, except for all I need them for today is some beautiful inking, even though they are gorgeous colors. So I'm going to do I did 4 in the light, and I'm going to do 3 in the dark, and this was just me guessing how many I would need to cover my background. Now, I have put them down on some 4-inch wide mint tape, and that is just so that they can hold them in place while I'm doing the inking, and I will reuse that over and over again throughout this video. Now, for some stacking dies to create a frame, there are so many. The world is your oyster. There are so many different companies out there that do stacking die sets these days. They do the Hero Arts Infinity die sets. There are 18 dies, and there are all the shapes. There are stars, there are hearts, there are circles, there are absolutely so many great shapes. So that is a great company to choose. But also I have the A2 nested arches dies. These are from scrapbook.com, and scrapbook.com often have a really, really good discount on their home brand of product. And so these are beautiful dies too. There are lots of them, and they stack nicely together, really close together to create these beautiful frames that I'm creating with 2 of the dies here. So once I have that gorgeous frame, I'm going to color this with some of the dark Carnation ink, and that is just because I don't have the coordinating cardstock for all of Gina K's inks. I think she has quite a few. I have a small handful. I have maybe 5 or so of the coordinating colors, and that's just a good amount for me. I have a couple of the pinks and a green and a gray that I really enjoy using and have been enjoying using as a card base. But we can create the same thing using, just inking up the cardstock as well. Now I'm going to take some foam strips and pop some strips on the back of my little arches die, my frame that I have created here. Now, with these projects, there is always more than one way that you can go about it, and there's more than one way that you could go about creating this particular little focal point too, but I'm just showing you one of the ways, and hopefully it will spark some ideas or something for you that you could also use something that you have in your stash, and you could create something similar. And then we are just going to alternate the light and the dark colors here behind the A2 frame, and I'm going to sort of stagger these, and they stagger really nicely just because of the, the chain links inks. And so I will just make sure that they sort of snuggle in with each other and they fit really nicely. And I'm going to go back and forth until I cover the whole background here. Now, I didn't actually know how many I would need, but it turned out that they worked pretty good. And it was kind of, you know, how I adjusted my spacing was so that I could fit these ones that I had already colored in this ink. So it doesn't really matter that these are border and trim dies. We can use these in lots of cool ways to create fun backgrounds as well. And this is just one of them. I think this looks really effective, and I think this is a cool way that we can use them. I will cut off the excess of these. I mean, there are ways that we could use the excess of these too, to be honest, but I will save that for another video because, as I said, when I was looking at this die set, I was so excited, and that's also why I limited myself to doing one of the dies, because my mind was just all over the place with so many really cool ideas. And so we will stick with just this one gorgeous die for today. But be rest assured that there will be more videos coming, and I'm excited to use these dies. As I said, I have lots of ideas bubbling. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of those little chain link ones there and pop them down onto a cutout, a die cut of one of those A2 arches sizes. These are going to be much smaller, so this will be a focal point on a card, but that is one way that we can go ahead and use these gorgeous dies. Now I'm going to sort of move quickly in this video and show you another way that we can create something here. I am taking a few more of these. I think it depends on, you know, what size background you're wanting to cover, but I'm going to aim a little bit smaller with this one, and I'm going to change up the color scheme and use some yellows. Now last time I used dye ink, and this time I'm going to use the hybrid ink that is Distress Oxide. It has properties of both pigment and dye inks. I'm going to use the mustard seed and scattered straw, and I'm just going to use a finger dauber, or you could go direct to the paper. That was pretty quick. And then for this one I'll use the finger dauber just to add some random color, you know, because I don't want them to be absolutely perfect. I will say that having them held down with the mint tape does make it super, super quick to add in the colour, and I'm not sort of having to try and hold them with my fingers as well. I'm going to use some shabby shutters and old paper. Now these colours look so similar to me. They look so very similar. I'm going to use both of these on a piece of background cardstock. As I said, very, very similar. But there is a little bit of difference in the ink colour when you put them down, but the lids do look pretty similar. And it's just a very messy way to add. You know, I didn't want anything to be perfect, so there's some lighter spots and some darker spots. Then I'm going to take some vintage photo Distress Oxide ink, and this is just going to go down the very edges of that chain link. I'm using a finger dauber to apply this, and I'm just going along the sides. I don't really want to catch the middle. This kind of reminds me of, like, you know, a rusty old chain. I guess that's what I was going with, and that's sort of the colors that we've chosen. Some of the greens and the yellows and then the brown. So this is going to create a very cute background for us. Now when it comes to adhering these, I'm just going to use some liquid glue, but I'm sure that you could also add some double-sided adhesive sheets. Before you die cut these out, you could use some so that you can, you know, just peel and go when you want to put these down. But the liquid glue for me works out just fine. Make sure you use a nice strong adhesive that is going to keep these in place, but you also want something that isn't going to smush out the sides and become nice and shiny. So I really like the Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish. That's my main glue here that I use. And I've also recently, well, within the last 6 months, used the Art Glitter Glue. Now that one does dry very, very fast, so be prepared that you cannot reposition that and move it around for very long. The matte medium gives you a little second longer, but is just as strong and absolutely dries nice and clear with no sheen. So I have just crisscrossed these around, and yeah, there was no rhyme or reason, just, you know, made some of them cross up and down and go down on different angles, and this has created a gorgeous textured background for us. And you could use any color scheme you wanted, you could change it up, but I really like the simplicity of this, again taking border dies and using them in a really fun way. Now I have this little card offcut here, and I think this would make a really cute actual card base, even though it's a bit of a different shape than what I might, you know, usually otherwise use. But then I was looking at some of my sentiments here. Now these are from my downloadable printable sentiments from my website, natashafootecreative.com. you can look under free resources and download that PDF and then print them out, and you have sentiments ready to go. There are also lots of other great things on my website that you could check out. I do have card making classes. I have an A to Z alphabet series of card making techniques. I have PDFs there that you can download and look at a whole glossary of different card making techniques, and there is a video to go with every single one of them. So there are lots of fun things that you can check out over on my website if you would like to. Now, I quickly finished this card in like 2 seconds. It was just putting things together, but I think this is a cute wee sized card. It's a bit of a different sized card because, as I said, it was just an off cut, but we may as well use them up. And then I put on some little glass water droplets, and this is good to go. So right, let's move on to the next one. Again, I'm just taking the exact same background, and this time I'm actually going to use them in white. So I'm going to put some double-sided adhesive tape, and I'm just going to put that down all 4 sides so that I can adhere on my borders. Now, I'm actually going to use these as like a trim. And so all I do is I'm going to put this half on and half off. Now, you could put it up a bit further where you can see the centers of the holes in the chain link, or you can put it down a little bit further and just have that gorgeous pattern. I'm going to go somewhere in between. And of course, if you have cut these out full length, some of them I didn't, depending on which cardstock I cut them from. But if you've cut them out full length, then you would be able to get probably 2 of this, honestly. Now, this piece of paper that I'm using, this is from, I think it's the Spring Garden Essentials by Simple Stories, and I will link that paper pad in the description box down below anyhow. But this is a gorgeous paper pad, and even just this piece of pattern paper looks stunning when we highlight it with a gorgeous little trim. Now, you may have dies that cut out this that do a similar sort of a similar sort of design. But I think with this one, it doesn't matter what it is you're trying to frame, because you can just use the strips to make them any size that you would like to. I'm using a passionate pink card base for this out of some of that Gina K cardstock. And this is going to go just up the very top. I just spotted a little piece that needs trimmed off. And then again, this was super, super simple putting this card together, but sometimes it's really fun just to put together quick cards and not spending a really long time on them. I am going to use a quick sentiment from this Simple Stories sticker book here, and this is quickly becoming one of my go-tos. A fantastic range of sentiments, a really good price point, definitely worth it. I have got the word "you are," which I'm going to pop up the top, and then a gorgeous word "magnificent" is going to go down there, and I quite like that with the gorgeous butterflies. So we've just highlighted a piece of pattern paper up the top using the trim as a border, and then I think this makes for a quick, easy, and gorgeous card. Now, just to help those blend in a little bit, I'm going to do some really messy lines around them, just sketchy lines to help them sort of sink into the card background a little bit. And then there are 3 easy ways we can use those border dies. So I hope that you have enjoyed this today. I hope it's given you some ideas, all the ways that we can use these dies, and I will look forward to seeing you in the